Hi, my name is Stephen Reardon, and this is my presentation on interpreting a fish feed label. For this assignment, I chose a commercial feed called Purina Aquamax Grower 400. It's a fish feed that's used for grower stage fish, and I'm going to use it as my example for how to read and understand a feed label. In this presentation, I'll talk about what this feed is used for, what the guaranteed analysis tells us, what the ingredients are likely doing in the diet, and then I'll connect it to a research case study about replacing fish meal with more sustainable protein sources. This connects back to our reading on fish nutrition and feed labels, and it also matters for the course project since we eventually have to choose realistic feeds for the species we want to culture. Purina is a large feed company, and Aquamax is their aquaculture line. Aquamax Grower 400 is designed as a grower feed for fish that are past the tiny fry stage, but still in early growing. The label describes it as a complete diet for starting fish and early grow-out phases. It's intended for species like bluegill, catfish, hybrid striped bass, largemouth bass, tilapia, and trout. The pellets are about 3/32 of an inch, and roughly half of them float and half sink. That's helpful because some fish feed at the surface while others feed a little deeper. So overall, this feed is aimed at multi-species use in ponds or tanks with a focus on getting good growth in young fish. A fish feed label has a few main jobs. It has to clearly identify the product name, the company that makes it, and provide the guaranteed analysis so farmers know what they're buying. The analysis lists key nutrients with minimum or maximum values. For Aquamax Grower 400, the guaranteed analysis shows a minimum of 45% crude protein and 16% crude fat. The maximum crude fiber is 3%. It also lists calcium in a range, and a minimum phosphorus and maximum sodium. These numbers give us a quick snapshot of how concentrated the feed is in terms of protein, energy, and some important minerals. When we compare those numbers to what we've learned in class, we can see that this feed is on the higher end for both protein and fat compared to a basic or more general purpose fish diet. The first thing that jumps out is the 45% protein. That's a high protein level that fits what we'd expect for fast-growing carnivorous or omnivorous fish, like trout or hybrid striped bass, especially during their grow-out phase. It tells us this feed is designed to support strong growth rather than just basic maintenance. The 16% fat provides a lot of energy. When enough fat is present, fish can use that fat as a main energy source and spare more of the protein for growth and tissue building. The fiber level of 3% is in the normal low range for fish feeds. Since fish don't use fiber very efficiently, keeping fiber low helps keep the diet more nutrient dense. The label also lists calcium, phosphorus, and sodium, gives extra information about the mineral content, which matters for bone development, metabolism, and overall health. Most commercial fish feeds are what we call closed formula diets, which means the exact recipe isn't fully shared. But the label still has to list the ingredients in order from most to least by their weight. Just by looking at the categories and their order, we can get a good idea of what's going on. In a high-protein feed like Aquamax Grower 400, the main protein source is usually animal protein products, like fish meal. Those high-quality proteins and essential amino acids are provided. Grain products, such as corn or wheat, usually supply much of the energy and add a bit more protein. Oils are added to reach the desired fat level and supply essential fatty acids. Finally, there is a vitamin and mineral premix that covers all of the micronutrients the fish needs. So even though we don't see exact percentages for all ingredients, we can still understand that this feed is built around fish meal or similar animal proteins, energy from grains, added oils, and a premix to balance the vitamins and minerals. Aquamax Grower 400 is a high protein feed, and it most likely relies heavily on fish meal. Fish meal is a great protein source, but it is expensive and depends on wild fish resources, which raises sustainability questions. Because of that, a lot of research is looking at alternative proteins that could replace some of the fish meal in fish diets. One example is a study with rainbow trout where researchers replaced part of the fish meal in the diet with black soldier fly larvae meal. They made several versions of the diet with different levels of insect meal and fed them to separate groups of trout. They monitored growth, feed conversion ratio, fillet quality, and also checked the gut and liver to make sure the new protein source wasn't causing any health issues. The basic question was, how much fish meal can we replace with insect meal without hurting performance or fish health? In the trout study, the fish generally showed similar growth and feed conversion when a moderate amount of fish meal was replaced with black soldier fly meal. At lower to moderate replacement levels, there weren't major negative effects on performance or obvious problems with gut or liver health. When the replacement level got too high, performance started to drop. But the study showed that some fish meal could definitely be replaced. For a feed like Aquamax Grower 400, this suggests that future versions could keep a similar nutrient profile, but gradually use less fish meal and more sustainable protein sources, as long as the formulas are carefully balanced. For our course project, this is important because choosing a feed isn't just about looking at the percentage protein on the label. We also have to think about where that protein comes from, how sustainable and affordable it is, and whether the feed meets the actual nutritional needs of the species that we want to culture in our systems. Thank you for listening.